I actually noticed that there's new Pokemon games coming out on Nintendo Switch this month or next month. And if you are unfamiliar, like every few years they put out a new mainline Pokemon game, and they make probably like 100-ish new Pokemon. It's fun. If you grew up with it, it can be really fun to follow it. What I've realized is that, because I assume most people listening are like 90s kids or early 2000s kids. I've said this before, I still find it insane that people who listen to this pod are born after 9/11. That's crazy. But anyway, what I've realized is because we all grew up with the original Pokemon generation, Pikachu, Charmander, Squirtle, Bulbasaur, Mewtwo, Zapdos, Articuno, Moltres, Aerodactyl. Now I'm just naming them. Meowth. Who's another one? Alakazam, Gengar. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about. What I've realized is that, we're now in the 9th generation of Pokemon, they call it, the 9th set of new Pokemon. And I realized that Pokemon designs have changed so radically since the original Pokemon games. The original Pokemon, and if you picture them now, because I'm sure most of you can at least remember these Pokemon that I'm going to say. If you think now of Pokemon like Charizard, Venusaur, Blastoise, right? Those original 3 starter Pokemon evolutions. Charizard, big dragon. Venusaur, big plant dinosaur. Blastoise, big turtle with cannons coming out of its shell. They're monsters. They were monsters. That's what Pokemon was. They were monsters. And I've realized now the designs have just changed so much, and I implore you to Google these. I'm going to turn this into a clip with images, but I implore you to Google these if you're just on the audio version, because you got to look at Pokemon like Charizard, right? Big fiery dragon. That's the concept. Big fiery dragon, and compare that to one of the more recent Pokemon, Cinderace, who is a humanoid rabbit that is also a soccer player. Do you see what I mean here? They have changed so much stylistically from Charizard, the big dragon, to Cinderace, the soccer-playing humanoid rabbit. Go and look him up. His attack is literally, he's a fire rabbit that plays soccer, and his attack is literally, he kicks a fireball that's a soccer ball. You've got your boys like Blastoise, the angry turtle with cannons coming out of his shell, versus Inteleon, the water lizard, who is also a super spy, like James Bond. This isn't a joke. Look up Inteleon. He's like a camouflaging skinny lizard that looks like it's wearing a suit that has his fingers in guns. Literally does finger guns and shoots water out of his fingers like they're guns because he's based on a secret agent. Just to remind you again, Blastoise, big turtle with cannons coming out of his shell. He's a monster. Inteleon, secret agent lizard, shoots water out of his fingers. Venusaur, I already said, big dinosaur with a tree coming out of its back. Monster. Absolute monster. And then in the new games, you've got Rillaboom. He's a gorilla who also plays the drums. Say that again. He's a gorilla who plays the drums. This is not a joke. I'll look it up. The new Pokemon designs are weird. Typhlosion, if you remember from Generation 2, he's a big badger that stands on 2 legs and has fire coming out of its neck, right? Typhlosion. Versus Delphox, one of the newer fire Pokemon, a humanoid fox that is also a witch, uses a stick as a magic wand. All right, so we got Typhlosion, the big badger with fire coming out of its neck, and Delphox, the witch fox with a magic wand. I don't know. I absolutely prefer much more those old school Pokemon designs to every time I see the new ones, they're just like it goes on 2 legs now, and it's like a human kind of thing with a theme. There's also Incineroar, he's like a wrestler. I don't know. I don't get why they can't just be monsters. Feraligatr from Pokemon Gold and Silver, big crocodile. That's just what he was. He was just a huge crocodile with massive teeth, and he'd kill ya. Now, there's one called Decidueye, who's just an owl that's also an archer. What? Why? Why do they have to be so human? Cinderace, I think, was the worst one, the soccer-playing rabbit. I just look at him and I'm like, what? What is the... You're not even a monster. You're just a big rabbit with a soccer ball. That's not Pokemon. Anyway, I'm complaining a bit. I won't be playing the new Pokemon games. I just, I haven't played any in ages. Because those games are so outdated. Like, not outdated. Like, I'm sure it's fun. I just can't play them anymore. They are through and through kids' games. And I'm not saying that the battle mechanics of Pokemon are for kids, because they're not. Like, if you go online and play Pokemon Showdown, the online competitive Pokemon battle simulator, wow, this is the nerdiest podcast in the country. But that's really fun, because the Pokemon battle mechanics are actually really complex and complicated and fun. And it's kind of like chess. Like, you're always trying to think a few moves ahead. But the main games are just boring for kids. I don't play them.